Hi, in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to fix this rattle on the bonnet here. This is a vent of sorts and it is rattling in two places. The first thing is the entire fitting seems to be loose. As you can see, it's got that rattle. You can see how it bounces up and down. I think some of the clips have broken off. It happens from age, being in the sun, also being a black car, also maybe some rough car wash. These little fins that are here, some of them have broken away from the remaining plastic underneath. I'll still show it to you once I've removed it. So I've got two rattles here. Now I'm going to play the rattle for you so you get an idea of how annoying it is. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't like rattles, and I particularly hear the rattle when I open the bonnet, and then when I close it, it makes that sound and it just frustrates me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to glue this back in place so it doesn't have any rattles. Now, in order to do this job, you will need some pry tools. Some plastic ones are useful so you don't scratch your vehicle. However, if you don't have plastic, you can just take screwdriver and wrap it in some material. Right, I'm also going to be using a blower. I have a cloth. I then have some alcohol to clean the parts. This is a rubbing alcohol, 91%. It has no glycol. This is not a traditional hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer often has some moisturizing items in there. We don't want anything with oil on it, so this is why I'm using rubbing alcohol. And then I do have this double-sided tape. This is a premium type double-sided tape. It's very thin. I'm just going to be using silicone as the main glue because silicone can absorb vibration and it does have flexibility. I won't use any glues that become hard for the reason that it will become brittle and then the rattle will come back. Right, on this vehicle there are some clips on the front, so I'm going to unclip all along there, peel it open and then slide it out. So I now need to just wedge a pry tool like that. Then what I'm doing is I'm going from the back to release the little clips that are holding it in place. So right over there at the back there's a clip. So if I can take my screwdriver and just pull the clip forward, I can also use a long nose pliers coming from the back, pulling it out, and then I can use my pry tool to lift this up. Those clips are present along the entire side, all along the vent. Right, so the very first clip is over here. I'm just there, it's already unclipped, taking my pry tool, lifting that up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a pry tool over here. So that's maintaining some force there so that as I slide this along, it actually gets easier and easier. There, that one is open. Now, the reason why I'm doing it like this is because these clips have become very brittle. If I pull up the vent, the clips will just break off because they've been in the sun, they've had a lot of temperature change, and they'll just break off. Right, now I'm very careful not to warp this or bend it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking it with a balanced force on either side, and I'm just sliding it out. As you can see, I slid that out. Right, so this is the underside, and we've got two problems here. The first one is these vents or these strips here, they've come loose, and they've obviously broken away from the glue that was underneath here. So there's was some little plastic welds there which need to be fixed. This one here is fine, and then the next problem is this strip. This entire strip over here is supposed to compress onto the chassis or the bonnet, and I can see some of these clips have actually been bent, so somebody hasn't taken these out correctly. Yeah, there we go. So these pins have obviously been, maybe the car was panel beated or something like that, and they were a bit rough. So what is supposed to happen is when it clips in place, it's supposed to be tight onto the chassis, almost pinching it, stopping it from vibrating. There's little flares that are there, almost like a plastic shock absorber, which is supposed to stop it from rattling. Now on this side where the clips are, firstly, some of these clips have fatigued, and here's a problem. There's a clip missing here, so there's another problem. All right, so the process here is I'm just going to clean it and then glue it. Right, the process here is to put tiny bits of silicone between the strips and the retainer here at the back. And now what I'm doing is I'm just pumping it in there, making sure that if I flip it around, you can't see any of that silicone. So one cannot see silicone from the other side. I'm just putting it in these cubes. So I'm just pumping the silicone in these cubes, making sure none goes on the sides of those strips. One cannot see it from the other side. Right, now I just take my screwdriver and bounce it in there just to make sure it mates onto the strip. You might see this one's actually loose, so specifically bouncing my screwdriver onto that so that it actually mates on that surface. It's not just sitting there, it's actually touching that surface. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this double-sided tape along here on the inside. Right, now I've opened that one and I've opened that one, so it will stick there and there. This one and this one I haven't stuck because most of my clips are actually fine. It's just that there's a little bit of fatiguing that is happening there, but the clip is still fine. And if I ever want to open this again, if I've used double-sided tape everywhere, it'll be almost impossible to get it out. So I'm only sticking that side and that side. If all your clips are broken, well, then you could actually silicone the whole thing in. Or you could use a double-sided tape. But as I said, the double-sided tape doesn't last very long, but in terms of absorbing a rattle, it lasts very long. Right, now mine was mostly broken at the back, so I'm only going to remove the sticker at the back. I'm not going to remove this one, otherwise it'll be virtually impossible to get this out. So I'm now going to stick this one down. It depends on how bad yours is. If yours is very bad, then obviously you could silicone it in or stick both sides. Now I'm just making sure it is even in the middle. And I'm just giving it a massage. Right, if you have any tape that is showing itself, I'm just removing it. Right, now the silicone is not dried yet, but I'll just give you a quick vibration test. And then the sections which need to be compressed, just put something on here and leave it for about 4 to 6 hours because the silicone will need to dry. Right, I'll just put a 5-litre oil to compress the strips which had separated from the retaining plastic underneath, and I'll leave this for about 6 hours. I already did a quick test showing that the rattles are already gone, and this will only improve it. Right, and once it's dry, you should no longer hear any rattles. And the job is now complete.